In this episode of The Landscape, I got the chance to interview not one, but two maintainers of the KEDA project. KEDA, Kubernetes Event-Driven Autoscaler, is a project solving a critical challenge in Kubernetes, simplifying and extending autoscaling workloads. KEDA allows you to scale everything with anything, provided it's measurable and aligns with Kubernetes scaling resources. This project bridges cloud-native technologies, offering a flexible and user-friendly solution for Kubernetes adopters overwhelmed by complex autoscaling configurations. In this episode, we explore key technical features, such as scaling modifiers, integrations with tools like NGINX, and how KEDA is enhancing event-driven autoscaling workflows. We also examine real-world adoption by major companies, its growing ecosystem, and potential applications in AI workloads. Now, let's check out the episode with Jan and Jorge. So, what problem does KEDA solve, Jan?
In my opinion, it allows you to scale everything with anything. Now, there are some caveats. Everything has some restrictions. Usually, it has to be a resource in Kubernetes that has a scale sub-resource, and that anything part also needs to be a metric that's measurable. But essentially, it allows you to bridge all sorts of technologies together and make sure that your infrastructure is capable of working under pressure.
Very good. I think it's a nice description regarding the scaling. Jorge, is there anything he missed?
Yeah, I would be quicker. We aim to make the autoscaling in Kubernetes that simple. It's quite complicated. There are a lot of edge cases, a lot of things to take into account. Our goal is getting all those boring stuff and just giving a simple way to customers slash end users slash Kubernetes adopters to scale their workloads without having to fight with Kubernetes autoscaling internals.
Right. Now, Jan, what's your favorite feature?
So, in a sense of a feature as a characteristic, I like how KEDA bridges and creates connections between different technologies and allows them to use one another with a sense of scaling. With regards to concrete technical feature, I like a recent addition of a scaling modifiers. In the past, there was a way how you would scale, and it was kind of a tightly defined. With scaling modifiers, really, you can autoscale anything with everything.
I like the same feature. I think that it has been the bigger or at least the most usable features during the last releases, because it brings the capability and the power to users to get all the KEDA knowledge and build their own story, their own scaling story based on their rules.
Now, Jan, what are some of the best success stories of end users, getting value from KEDA?
I am going to say that anybody who installs KEDA and is happy about using it and can make it work in their setup and infrastructure to gain value is the best end user story. Whether it's for improving the reliability of your setup or saving money, if we help prevent any hiccups during Black Friday shopping peaks, those are fantastic success stories. Then, if you also file an issue or maybe fix a bug or contribute in some other way, that's even better.
Jorge, any big companies, solid examples of KEDA adoption you'd like to share?
Yeah, for sure. There are some big companies such as Alibaba or Azure building their own services. Also, Red Hat. There are a lot of companies building their services on top of KEDA. But I will say that the best use case or business case or best case of study is when there are other third-party softwares integrating your project as dependency of them. For instance, Grafana Mini use KEDA under the hood to scale their service. I know that there are other projects. Selenium has been contributing recently because they offer scaling based on KEDA. I think that that's a better adoption story than just a big player saying, I see a business case. Because in the other case, a lot of smaller players have been a real advantage of integrating your product. and they don't have the muscle to invest thousands of hours adapting to their own business case, but taking something that works and it's super easily integrated in their own use cases.
Now, the CNCF landscape is quite large. Jan, are there, other CNCF tools that KEDA is integrating with?
At this point, I think it might be harder to find a tool which isn't integratable with KEDA. For more concrete examples, I think it's better to hand over the microphone to Jorge.
Thank you, yeah, probably one that at least 60, 70, or 80% of the users know, that is NGINX. If you go to Kubernetes NGINX Helm chart, there is a section to deploy and scale object, to scale your engines based on KEDA. Obviously, it's not the default one because you cannot set default behaviors with third-party dependencies. It's something that users should choose by their own, but it's something that is already there. Just uncommenting a couple of lines if you want to use KEDA under the hood.
Now, it's quite clear, the benefits that can be provided by KEDA. But Jan, when would you say that KEDA is not the answer? When should people not use this project?
So it's pretty bad at anything that's not related to autoscaling. So it kind of has its purpose in the world. Mainly the autoscaling it's pretty good with. Works on the pod level. If you want to autoscale your infrastructure, the nodes and other aspects, then there are going to be some struggles. So integrating with tool like a Carpenter, for example, is not as easy as one would have hoped, potentially. It would have been great if Carpenter opted to use the cluster API. The integration would have been really smooth because cluster API has the scale sub-resource. But at the moment, unfortunately, that is an area where we could definitely improve.
Jorge, anything to add there?
No, it has been super clear. Our focus is scaling and not managing. So everything that is related with management and not with scaling is not for us. We try to be aseptic and generic as much as we can. So managing your resources from an infrastructure point of view, from queues in Rabbit or something, so is totally outside the scope of KEDA. KEDA's scopes is making the autoscaling that simple, not the management of your products that simple.
Got it. Now, with AI becoming, so popular nowadays, are there any instances, related to KEDA that, let's say AI engineering departments might be using? Any references or examples you could share there, Jan?
For them specifically, there are obviously two areas. One is a model training. You could check the live prices and expose that as a metric and leverage the capabilities of KEDA. When the infrastructure is cheap, you can ramp up the training as much as you want. And then when it becomes more expensive, again, you could scale down. With regards to actual usage of the models, there are specific requirements on hardware, right? Like normally you would autoscale applications arbitrarily on some nodes. With AI, you frequently require a GPU of a certain qualities to be available. So KEDA can help in that regard as well. And an aspect also related or adjacent to AI, right now KEDA is great with autoscaling reactively. So a metric goes up, we scale up, but also we would be interested in scaling proactively. So let's say some form of predictive scaling, that might be interesting part in the AI world as well.
In terms of companies that are supporting it, I know you mentioned Alibaba, also Azure. Are there any ones that we haven't covered yet that you'd like to mention?
Yeah, let's mention definitely the two companies that sponsor the maintainers of KEDA, and that's Lidl and Kedify. For those who are not Europeans, Lidl, that's like a European Walmart, and Kedify is a small startup founded by Zbigniew, one of the very long-time maintainers of KEDA. Also worth to mention Microsoft for their infrastructure. if there's anything else Jorge would want to add.
Then I would clarify that it's not Lidl, it's the Sparse Group. And Sparse Group has also interest on cloud technologies because in Sparse they are starting, not me, I work for Lidl Plus, but in Sparse they are starting their own cloud, their own cloud provider, the sovereign cloud in Europe, known as Stacky. So just to give the kudos to all the layers of my company at all their levels.
Very good. Wonderful. Good. And in terms of, people that are in the KEDA community, Jan, in your experience, who are some people that have been instrumental for you to be, there as a contributor, the experience that you've had that's brought you to where you are today?
So definitely going to mention Jorge and Zbigniew, as they still continue to be in the community, but I also wanted to give a shout out to Tom Kerkhoff, who has been he was a long-time maintainer. He just very recently decided to step down from the list. And I did a little bit of digging on GitHub, and I think he was the longest running maintainer or contributor for KEDA. So just wanted to say, Tom, you're awesome. Thanks for your work.
And you, Jorge?
Yeah, for sure, because I have been here for a longer time than Jan, and I know more names than Tom. I also would like to say thanks to Jeff Holland, ex-Microsoft member, and now working for Snowflake, and also to Ahmed, that is still working for Microsoft, as they are part of KEDA, as well as another founder that I don't remember the name. Sorry. So long for me.
Okay. Good. Now, in terms of wrapping it up, looking towards the future, there are a lot of CNCF projects out there. I think there are now more than over 200. What's the special sauce in KEDA? What makes it different? What's something that's sort of insider that people that don't know the project might not be aware of?
That's a really good question. I was more prepared on this question from the aspect of a fun fact and fun trivia pieces, if that's okay to share instead. So there are two fun facts that captured my attention. And Tom, we mentioned him briefly already, a longtime maintainer. He actually was not a Go programmer. So that's how KEDA is inclusive. The entire code base is either YAML or Go. And Tom was a C# developer. I think if that doesn't convince you to contribute, then I don't know what will.
It's a very good sign. Good. Jorge?
I will go with a more funny fact. If they or any folk can join us, Zbigniew and me, or now Jan, in Cube concessions. If attendees haven't seen our Cube concessions, I suggest going to YouTube and watch because they are quite funny. It's something that could happen if someone come near to us, close to us.
All right.
And there's also one more rumor. There's also one more rumor that I've heard that the original name of KEDA used to be Core with K-O-R-E. And that was a Microsoft internal, apparently working name before they open sourced the project.
Ooh, that's kind of like Borg and Kubernetes. That's cool. I like that. Very cool. Good stuff. All right. Now, you did mention about, the different people that are involved. If people want to get involved, what kind of contributors are you looking for? What's the best way to get started with KEDA?
We are excited for a wide range of contributions, whether that is like hanging out in the Slack and talking to people and chatting with them regarding their problems and how you approached the solutions, or improving documentation. Also, there's long list of features that we would like to get implemented. So if you're interested in coding and getting more in that aspect, or helping with our CI/CD pipelines, all of those are going to be valuable contributions.
And, in terms of what do you like to do when you're not, actively participating in KEDA? What are things you like to do in your free time, Jan?
I have a family, 2 small kids, girls, 3 and 6, and they're pretty awesome. So whenever I have free time, I hang out with them. Sometimes they wear silly dresses and sing songs from Frozen, whichever makes them happy.
photos, videos, or get the fuck out. Sorry. That's all good. Good for you though. That's great. Very nice to spend time with family. Jorge, when do you have free time? And when you do, what do you do with it?
I used to organize a meetup with some crazy people in Bilbao. Maybe you are not aware about CNCF Bilbao. Good music, good network, and nice cookies, if you are not aware about it. And I like to do martial arts. Train your mind and also your body.
Very good. What kind of
And
martial arts do you do, Jorge?
spend the time with my family.
What kind of martial arts do you do? I didn't know that.
I have been doing kung fu for 3 years, and now combat, Chinese combat, known as Sanda, for 1 year and a half, more or less.
Good for
I
you.
am a
I did
pure
not know
machine.
that.
Be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I will be careful. It's a good thing we don't live in the same city. Good. Well, that pretty much wraps it up in terms of the questions that we have for today. But thank you both very much for all the hard work that you're putting in. If people want to check it out, you've got the Slack on CNCF Slack. The website's readily available. Looking forward to seeing what's going on with KEDA also in KubeCon. Hope this episode comes out before then. But thank you both very much and look forward to seeing you in the cloud native ecosystem. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.